the Podcast Network. I'm your host, Stacey Blackwood, joined as always by my good friend Jake Thomas. Jake, what's up, man?
Man, I'm doing great. Got a short week this week. We got Thanksgiving coming up, and just real quick, I want to thank all of our fans. I know we probably don't have many, but we're just two good old boys who, just a few short years ago decided to talk a little bit of Alabama sports, and never would imagine that we would be on YouTube. And I just thought we'd be behind the scenes still, just doing audio, but just thankful for all the people who do come in and comment and everything. So I just want to thank the fans for all that they've done.
That's true. It's the Thanksgiving season, so uh, we're definitely thankful for everybody that has us either watching us or listen to us through the podcast form. We really appreciate it. It means a lot to us. And like Jake said, we started this a few years ago, and it's done really well, surprisingly, and we're really thankful for that. And we're going to talk about the. By the way, the chat is open, so jump in the chat. You can kind of see it there on the side of your screen. It'll pop up automatically. Bear with us. This is our first time using a different streaming service, so we're still new to this and still trying to figure it out. So just
Cool.
watching in College, Mississippi. Hey,
Uh,
Danny.
Thank you, Danny.
Thanks for joining.
Appreciate it.
But yeah, we're really thankful for everybody tuning in, and like you said, just kind of bear with us. This is our first time using this service, so just kind of have to see what happens. But as always, our show is brought to you by BetOnline.ag, and of course, it's Thanksgiving, and we all know what that means, football season. So make sure you head on over to BetOnline.ag to get ready to place those bets on those Thanksgiving Day games. And if you sign up today, whether it's on the mobile device or on their website, enter promo code BELIEVE and you receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag. All right, guys, really appreciate everybody tuning in. Like I said, the chat is open. Make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe button there on YouTube. We would greatly appreciate that. We're going to dive right into this Arkansas game, Jake. It was a game that we thought going into the game it was going to be a physical game, and Arkansas was not going to lay down lightly, and they were not going to go away quietly. So, just your initial reaction to the past game against Arkansas.
Yeah, and real quick, Danny, thank you for the kind words. It's a good show. We appreciate that. But yeah, going to the game, man. We had talk in our preview. We both could see this being either a close contest or kind of like how the Ole Miss game went.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, it was a closer contest than I wanted. But I will say this: the positives. Bill O'Brien had his best play calling game since he's been in Alabama this year, and he called the right plays. What I really enjoyed, or I really glad to see, was they finally put an extra lineman, in the game, which helped tremendously. Now, Damian George still kind of struggled, but a couple of those, it's just young. He just got to get more experience at right tackle. Defensively, Will Anderson's still a beast. The defensive line that I think they only averaged I think they only had like 24 yards, 26 yards rushing. But that secondary, it's like Swiss cheese right now. We've got to tighten that up. But other than that, I'm actually proud of how the offense played the other night.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to really be too critical of the offense. Now, there was moments, we have the penalties there in the red zone that take away touchdowns, and Bryce takes a big time sack that moves us just outside of, field goal range, and we just barely miss a field goal. So there was a lot of points, and Cameron Latou fumbles inside the 5 yard line. So
Oh,
there was a lot of points left on the field by the offense, despite how well they performed throughout the contest. I would say for 90% of the contest, they were unbelievable. But that 10%, cost the team some points. So offensively, it was a really good performance. You'll take that type of performance, just about each and every week. Of course, Bryce Young breaks the single game passing yards record. Great job by Bryce. He kind of started the game off a little slow. He was a little off target to begin the game, and
Yeah.
it didn't take him long. And we talked early in the season how his deep ball accuracy was not there, and I said just give him time. And Jake,
Hmm.
he is on point now with that deep ball accuracy, and that just adds a dynamic to the offense. So offensively, I'm pretty pleased with where they are at. I agree with you. Bill O'Brien had his best game as far as play calling
Hmm.
so far this season. So that's a bright side of things. And just talking about the defense real quick, you know, it's crazy. Generally, the defense plays pretty good, but there's about 5 or 6 plays it seems
Oh,
every game that they're just completely in shambles, and it
yes.
always it always it creates disaster plays for the defense where the team scores on big plays, and it's really frustrating when you sit back and watch. Like Josh Jobe, he's in great position each and every time. He just never plays the ball, and
Right.
he got pushed off on that one on Burks, and
Yeah.
and I do want
Clear.
to point out Burks is an elite football player. I mean, we don't need to forget that he is an elite football player, and will probably be a first round pick, in next year's draft. So it's important to remember that. And Jake giving up another special teams touchdown, just man, that can't happen. I mean, I don't
No,
know what else to say. It just can't happen.
I know, and it. I don't. I want to trust Saban because I mean he is the greatest coach of all time, and he said they had that play. They was prepared for that to happen. And of course they said the ref got in the way, but man, I was just so frustrating. And the special teams of the night. I know it was kind of in late in the second quarter, so I mean it was fixing to go to halftime, but Slade did muff a punt.
Yep.
And we missed a field goal, which I don't want to put that on Will Rocker because it would have been like a chip shot for him, but we took that like a 20-yard sack that didn't help matter. So I really don't want to blame that on him too bad, but like you said, the defense is it's just frustrating because we know how great this unit can be, and we know how great some of them's been this year. But battle is starting to come around, and I don't want to pick on Joe, but he did get pushed off that one time, but he missed. He tried to what they call
Jam.
jam at the line of scrimmage and whiff big time, and that's what caused another.
Well,
You know,
and
but
to your point on that play specifically, Jake, why are we jamming on
right,
3rd and 16
I
or
know,
whatever it was? It was third and super long.
yeah,
Play off a little bit, give him 5 or 6 yards, and make him punt.
yeah,
So,
exactly,
and I don't know if that was if that was the specific call on that play for him to jam, or if that was just what he decided to do, or whatever the case was. But
yeah,
uh, just bad decision making, whether it was by him or by the coaching staff on that play. So I'm with you. That play
yeah,
really frustrated me, really more than the big play to Burks, when Burks not only was it a delay of game on Arkansas, but he got away with a egregious push off. So uh, yeah, I
yeah.
mean it's just Job had a frustrating performance against Arkansas.
Yeah, and he's going to be fine next. This week. I believe he'll be back. Now Kool Aid, I thought he'd come in and did really well in his
Yeah,
absence, but Job, of course, I still think it's going to be the guy. But one thing you talk about frustrations. I was rewatching the game before we started, and I just some highlights. I believe it was pretty much all game. There was drives that Arkansas would have like 3rd and 11, 3rd and 14.
yep.
They'll get a first down. Well, then 3 plays later, it's 3rd and 11, 3rd and 14, 3rd and 16 again. They get the first down. I mean, they went. I think I saw they went 10 of 19 on third down conversions. We've
That
got to get off
yeah.
the field
On
on third
third
downs.
on 3rd and 4th down conversions, they were combined 10 of 19, and when you force that many 3rd and 4th downs, and then you allow them to pick up over half of them, that makes it tough on your defense. And
Yes.
I mean, it strains them because they're playing more plays, and it's just it's not the way you want to do things. And Saban talked about that in his post game press conference, how that was really, a key factor in that ball game. So
Hmm.
defensively, it was just a very, uh, I don't really know what the word is. It was frustrating to watch because, and it seems like we say this, for the majority. We've said this for the majority of the season. It's just really frustrating to watch the back end of that defense play.
Absolutely, and they're uber talented, and it's sad to see. Because I mean, Job is can has the potential to be a shutdown corner. Uh, Jay, out of that unit, Jalen Armour Davis to me has played the best.
I agree
You
with you.
know,
He's been the most
yeah,
consistent player this season.
yeah. Now Jordan Battle has come along the last 4 or 5 games, which is great. We're still kind of waiting on Malachi and Brian Branch to show up, but as a collective unit, they're just not playing the best ball right now.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I still think they can.
yeah. Well, and even after what happened Saturday, everything is still in front of them. They clinched the SEC West. You beat Auburn, you beat Georgia. You're in the SEC championship, or you're in the college football playoff
Yeah,
again. So,
right.
uh, we talk about it. We're spoiled. We're used to a
Yeah,
certain standard, and um, I agree. They have not played to that standard this year, and that really goes for both sides of the ball. The offense, even though they're putting up great numbers, they have a lot of miscues, a lot of penalties, a lot of drops. So there's certain things that offensively they could clean up that would, Alabama could have put that game away if not for the Latu fumble, if not for the holding
mhm,
calls that wiped out touchdowns, if not for a
yeah,
missed field goal, if not for taking that sack that led to the missed field goal. So offensively, if they clean up some of those mistakes, they're putting away these teams a lot faster, and it takes some of the pressure off the defense. I mean, it really is a team game. So
right.
uh, as each unit plays better, it's just better for the rest of the team. So they have it in them. The talent is there. The coaching is there, and hopefully they can put it all together, and hopefully they can put it together against Georgia in the SEC championship game.
Absolutely, and I do believe that this unit, this team right here, will give Georgia their best shot. That anybody's given Georgia this year. I really think that. Now people may think I'm crazy, but I don't. I think we match up well against them. We can. Bryce has finally come around on his deep ball, and Jamison Williams and Mechie are mismatches. And I want to say one thing. When I was rewatching the highlights, John Mechie, in the first half had 122 yards, and it was a very quiet
It was,
122 yards. It seemed like every play was going to JMO,
yeah,
and then I'm like, my gosh, we had two receivers that had over 120 yards, and Mechie just seemed like it was just a very quiet. I mean, he's just so good, and now with both of them, you know, we talk about we need a third option, but when you have both of these guys playing like they are right now, the defense, who you going to cover? You going to cover JMO? You going to double cover Mechie? Because
yeah.
both of them are going to beat you.
Yeah, every Alabama fan has complained about, trying to find that third option at wide receiver. But Jake, when your first two options have been as good as what Mechie and Williams have been, I
Yeah,
mean, there's only one football. So
I know. Yeah, and Bryce Young, man, what a
I,
game
I'm
by him. You just want to get to that.
unbelievable.
Yeah,
Unbelievable. That's where I was going next, Jake.
yeah,
And just listen to his season stats so far:
yeah.
3,584 passing yards, 38 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions.
Heisman.
I mean, if it's not him or Will Anderson,
Yeah,
I mean,
uh,
unless Bryce, it's most likely going to be Bryce because I mean, like it or not, it's an offensive award.
it is.
Um, but if Bryce don't win it, it'll be because he does not play well the next 2 weeks. So,
Yeah,
and I don't expect that. He has been consistent all season long. I know that C.J. Stroud is coming on hot for Ohio State, but to me, it's Bryce Young. Uh, he's simply unbelievable, and what's scary is that he has not reached his potential yet.
no. He's only a sophomore, which means he'll be back next year, along with Will Anderson, who's the other guy, like you said, should be in the Heisman hunt. But that guy has what 13 and a half tackles for loss now on the season.
No, that's 13 and a half sacks.
Something to have sacks. He's
He's
got
got
over 22.
he's got like 24 or 25 tackles for
Yeah,
loss.
I mean, my gosh, and they were doing some different things with him the other night. They were trying to, do a bunch of stunts with him, which I'm glad to see. But he does those so well because it might have been last week's game. He was stunting. He just paused in the hole, and then like the left guard like turned his head just for a second, and Will took off through that hole and sacked the quarterback.
Yeah,
I mean, he's just so instinctive, and the way he's carrying himself in press conferences and stuff. Like today, he said football is fun, and I won't, I just want to win, and he's pretty much been talking about the national championship all year. So
yeah.
he's the kind of leader I want, and I'm hoping he gets through to some of these guys because he's going to need some help. We got to have some more leadership on this team.
I agree. That's, you know, I don't want to speak too soon because it can change in a moment.
Mm-hmm.
But it just doesn't feel like this team has the it factor, whatever the it factor is. It doesn't seem like they have it, and like and it can develop at any moment. I mean, there's
Yep.
dudes all over that roster. Nick Saban's still the goat, so it's not that they can't get there. I just haven't seen it yet. So. And that's kind of what makes this team fun and
Yeah.
infuriating to watch all at the same time.
Yeah, I know, but I still enjoyed this team.
Yeah,
They're not the team of last year. They're a totally different new team. There's new faces, but
right.
they're it seems like we always talk about being spoiled. It seems like these guys kind of got spoiled by what happened last year, and they just think that they're invincible. But I thought it would change when the A&M game happened, and they had played a lot better, especially offensively. Minus the LSU game.
Yeah,
Other than that, they've gotten better, and defensively they started looking a little bit better. But now I want to give credit to Arkansas. I mean, KJ Jefferson is a dude, and we already talked about Burks. So
yeah,
I mean, they do have some great players, and KJ Jefferson played out of his mind the other night.
yeah.
So
He
I
did,
want to give them
no
credit.
doubt.
Yeah,
Arkansas played a heck of a game, and
yeah,
we both thought that going in that Arkansas could give Alabama some fits just because
hmm
of how hard nosed that team is, and how
yes,
hard they play for Sam Pittman. But and props to Traylon Burks as well, man. That dude,
man,
he was in pain the entire game, and
hmm
he was just competing, man.
yeah.
He's an elite football player, and he's a guy that you would want on your team. So if I was an NFL team, I'd be looking at that dude long and hard with my first pick.
Absolutely, because
First of all,
like
that
you
dude
said,
is massive.
he
He is
is.
massive.
Yeah, he is, and I mean, and he played hurt all game, like you
Right.
said. So he's not going to, come game time, he's like, "Oh, I can't play, coach." No, he's going to go out there and try to give 100%, even though he don't feel like
Right.
it.
Right.
But
I want to touch on a couple things because
yeah,
the season's almost winding down. We'll talk
crazy.
about the Iron Bowl later this week. We just one more regular season game to go, Jake. It's unbelievable.
Wow.
But Brian Robinson, Jake, he is just 55 yards away from 1,000 yards on the season. He's got 14 rushing touchdowns, so he'll probably get there against Auburn.
hmm
I'm not sure how many people thought he would have 1,000 yards in the regular season. So really proud of B Rob.
Absolutely. And another guy who I thought the other night was having a great game that was kind of quiet. That was B Rob. I mean, I think he had like 122 yards rushing, and
Yeah,
I mean, it was. I mean,
he earned every yard he got against
he
Arkansas too.
He did. He did. I mean, he was plowing people over. He sent one. I mean, he knocked the soul out of some guy, some guy. I'm like, gosh. I mean, and that's what I love about B Rob. He's looking to run somebody over, and if you get in his way, he's going to lower them pads, and he's going to lay you out. So
Right.
you better go low to begin with and get lower than him, because if you don't, you're going to be looking up at him.
That's right. And of course, Jamison Williams, he's already, exceeded the 1,000 yard receiving mark. He's got 1,218 yards and 13 touchdowns. But Mechie is just 105 yards away from 1,000 on the season. So
Yep.
a great shot. that that both Mechie and Williams are over the century mark or the 1,000 yard receiving mark for the season.
Yep.
Uh, Chris
Yep.
and Angie say any chance Saban offers DC position to Kevin Steele, should he let Pete Golding go? Uh, it's a possibility, but don't forget that Jeremy Pruitt is also still out there, and there's a chance that he would be available to come back into the SEC, considering how the Tennessee investigation went and that they found nothing. And so there's a good chance that Pruitt could also come back. And just in my opinion, I would rather have Jeremy Pruitt over Kevin Steele.
Here's the interesting thing about Kevin Steele. There's been a lot of mumblings that Brian Harsin may look at the Washington job,
Yeah.
and a lot of people I've been seeing is wanting Kevin Steele, to be the head coach at Auburn if
Hmm.
that happens. So, it just depends on what happens there. So,
Yeah. And also, I forgot, I'm going to bring it up real quick. On Twitter yesterday, somebody sent me a direct message. Brock Cubilo, I believe is his last name. He said, "Would you take Dan Mullen as the Alabama offensive coordinator?" No, I would not.
offensive analyst, yeah, I'll be fine with that. But
Jake, I'll be honest with you. I don't want him anywhere near Tuscaloosa. Dude,
he's
that
he's a little
guy's
wild.
weird. He's
He's
weird.
weird. He's weird. I mean, it is true. I would take Sharp back in a heartbeat. Looks like he might get run out of
Oh
Austin.
man, yeah, I would take Sarkeesian back in no time at all.
Yeah,
I'd go drive out there and pick him up and rent a U-Haul myself.
I know. I would bring him back in a heartbeat. And, I just hate it because Sharp looks like he's one of these guys that's going to fit in that mold of you're a great coordinator and you're just not a great head coach,
Yeah.
you know. But,
Well, and Texas's culture is just bad right now,
yeah.
and I'm not sure that I don't know how you change that. Uh, just maybe they should have gave Tom Herman a few more years. I don't know. I mean, it seems like this is like the third head coach in the last 10 years or so, and
Hmm.
uh, none of them have worked out. So I don't know. It sounds more like a Texas problem than a coaching
Yeah.
problem.
And just looking out there, since we're talking about different coaches, one to keep your eye on that could come into the Saban, analyst type rehabilitation, Scott Frost.
No,
Because they
he's done been renewed for another year. He's
are you
going to
serious?
they reconstruct.
Wow,
Yeah, they reconstructed his contract, and he will be back for next season.
that's kind of shocking to me because they have been
I'm going to
struggling.
be honest with you. I think it's a good move for Nebraska. I'm not saying it's going to work out, but who are they going to hire?
Right. I mean,
I mean,
who would go there?
they can't compete against LSU, Florida, USC for a head coach. So, I mean, that maybe next year the the jobs are not as tough that you're going up against. So I think it's a good move for on them. I mean, either it don't work out and you try to find somebody next year, and you're not competing against LSU, Florida, and USC, or it works out and he proves to be a good coach like he did at Central Florida. So I think it's a good move on their part.
That's interesting. I didn't know that happened today. So
Well, it didn't happen today. It happened a couple weeks ago, actually.
I totally missed it. So that's why
That's
I
all right.
follow Alabama stuff, not
Yeah.
Nebraska. But
All right. Hey,
yeah,
that's going to do it as we kind of wind down the Arkansas recap. Good win for Alabama. They clinched the West, heading back to Atlanta for the SEC championship game once again to face off against the Georgia Bulldogs. So everything that Alabama wants to accomplish
bring
is
it,
still in
Georgia.
front of them. Take care of Auburn in the Iron Bowl, beat Georgia in the SEC championship game, and you're back in the college football playoff. And actually, ESPN analytics show that if Alabama beats Auburn and loses to Georgia, they still have a 70% chance of making the college football playoff. So that would really piss a lot of people off. So we'll just
Good.
kind of see what happens as we get closer to that. But a lot can happen between now and that college football rankings. The one that matters when it comes out. So,
Hmm.
but we'll be here at the Todd Talk podcast to kind of look at that, and we're excited to watch the season wind down. It went by in a hurry, but we're excited
Hmm.
about the Iron Bowl. We'll talk about that here later this week.
Absolutely, man. I'm excited. I'm glad we got the West clinched up, and like you said, Iron Bowl week, bring Auburn on, and it's time it's time to get ready for Georgia. So still got a lot to play for, guys, and I know that Saban's gonna have his team fired up and ready to go, regardless of what happens in the ball games.
That's right. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this episode. We appreciate everybody watching. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe here on YouTube. Jump in the comment section and let us know your thoughts on Alabama's victory over Arkansas. All right, for Stacey Blackwood and Jake Thomas, roll tide.
Roll Tide.